Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Unacademy. On this channel, CAT4MBA, I'm going to take up the practice for verbal ability or verbal reasoning. This verbal reasoning practice is aiming at all the exams other than CAT. Exams which are happening this month, such as SNAP, which is happening tomorrow, and IIFT. With that, I have also taken up the questions which appear in this as well as my CAT. Alright, so today's session is going to give you the comprehensive practice of verbal reasoning questions for all the varieties of exams. Alright, so that's the agenda for today. Let me just walk you through the slide which captures the agenda for today. So these are the topics that I'm going to cover today: syllogism, logical consistency, questions based on assumption, fact, inference, and judgment, parajumble, and critical reasoning. Alright, so I have taken up mixed varieties of questions so that you are exposed to all of them and know how to deal with them if they appear in your exam. Alright, so that's the objective of today's session. Before that, let me give you a brief introduction of myself. My name is Neelam Malkani. I possess around 12 years of experience of test preparation industry and have been training students of CAT, GRE, GMAT, SAT, IELTS, and TOEFL. I have also been involved extensively in content development and designed and set assessment papers of English and reasoning for various exams. For a brief period of time, I also served as an examiner of English for an international organization. Recently, I have authored a comprehensive book of English for the preparation of competitive exams. The book is written in both Hindi and English and is available on Amazon. This video is brought to you by Unacademy, India's largest online learning platform for the preparation of competitive exams. Let me take you to its portal and tell you how you can start your preparation and be part of this portal. Before that, let me just check if I have gone live. Okay, so the first step is going to be installation of this mobile app or this learning app in your mobile phone. Unacademy learning app. You have to go in the Play Store of your mobile phone and download Unacademy learning app. After filling in all the details, you will be shown three major offerings, plus free courses and special classes. Now, when you have this app in your mobile phone, you can have unlimited digital learning experience by attending classes which are available under free courses and special classes. Those educators who are taking plus classes are also offering their classes under free and special classes. You can have as many classes, attend as many quizzes and exercise as possible. Once you are contented with the quality of education and the quality of educators, you can then go on to subscribe the plus category. If you are targeting a specific exam and you want guided preparation as well as a course which is designed to cater to the needs of that exam, you have to subscribe to the plus category. When you go further, you will be shown different categories which are provided or which are offered under plus. If you are targeting CAT, you have to choose that. When you go further, you will be shown all the features that you will be able to avail once you subscribe to this course. Features such as 30 hours of live session every day. So every day you can choose the time of your session as per your availability, as per your suitability to attend the classes. It's not a very regimental course which makes you attend a class on a specific period of time. Same way, the courses which are designed, which are offered by educators on Unacademy are well structured and well designed, having fine balance of conceptual clarity and exercises and quizzes. Every month, you see a new course being launched by top educators of India. These educators who have extensive experience of guiding and mentoring students in their respective domains. When you go further, you will be shown different models of subscription that have been devised by Unacademy to suit your specific needs. If you are going for 1 year's preparation, you can subscribe to the yearly course. That is going to cost you 17,500 rupees. But if you're targeting CAT 2021 and you want to start right away, you can go for 2 years subscription. With that, you will have consolidated preparation for CAT 2021-22. 2 years subscription is going to cost you 21,000 rupees. If you type code Neelam, NEELAM, you will be able to avail 10% discount. And your fee is going to come down to 15,750 for a year and 18,900 for 2 years, right? So that is what going to be the benefit of typing this code Neelam, alright? Fine, please tell me if you can see me and please drop in a message. Okay. All right. Now, these are different platforms where you can reach out to us. You can subscribe to this channel and then you will be notified about all these sessions and all the informative videos that we are going to upload for your preparation, right? And you can also reach out to us through Telegram. All you need to do is go on Neelam Malkani Unacademy CAT on this channel and you will be part of the group that I have on Telegram, and with that you will also be intimated about the classes that I take regularly on special classes as well as on YouTube. Okay, so let me give you some very specific, important information about. All right. Yes, Shalin, this is also going to be for SNAP. So OMET is going to cover all the exams, right? All right. So Unacademy Combat, it's a scholarship test which is going to be held on 10th of January and it's going to happen every fortnight. Every 15 days, a scholarship test on all India level is going to be organized online of the pattern of CAT which happened this year. So the changes which happened in CAT this year, this test is going to incorporate all those changes in terms of time as well as in terms of pattern, right? So this is going to give you the real feel of CAT. So if you're targeting CAT 2021, you need to know where you stand in terms of your All India ranking. After taking the test, you can know where you stand. It's going to give you your real-time ranking. Same way, the educators who are going to test the paper are going to give you the video solution, right? So video analysis will be provided by the educators who are going to design the paper, right? And if you are one of the top scorers, you can win Amazon vouchers of rupees 50,000, 30,000, 15,000 and 1,000. Alright? So you should not miss this opportunity if you are targeting CAT 2021 or CAT 2022. Now, let me talk a bit about these batches. One of the batches has already begun on 6th of January, and it's a score booster batch. You can be part of this. 8th January, another batch which is going to be started today, and it is absolute weekday morning batch. And another batch which is starting tomorrow is complete weekend batch. So if you are working professional and cannot spare time on weekdays, this is the batch for you, right? So all these batches are going to be taken up by the prominent faculty members of Unacademy who have extensive experience of these exams. Iconic CAT 2021. So that's another feature that is recently introduced by Unacademy. So other than plus subscription, you can go for Iconic CAT 2021 facility, which is going to give you a personal mentor. Right? So this mentor is going to look at your performance in classroom as well as in your test performance. As per your performance, this mentor will guide you and give you a test preparation plan. Right? So a guided preparation will be given to you, and the person is going to keep an eye on your performance as well as your conceptual clarity. These mentors are themselves from top B schools of India, and Ahmedabad, and Bangalore, and in Calcutta. So these people have actually gone through this entire experience of aptitude training, taking exam, clearing GDBI, and then studying in these colleges. So first-hand experience is definitely going to facilitate you in getting crystal clarity of the concepts as well as this entire aptitude training process, right? Though it's going to be a bit steep, but it's all the worth, right? You should actually join it if you are targeting 100 percentile or ABC college, right? And other than CAT preparation, these mentors will also guide you for OMET preparation, other management entrance exams, right? Under this subscription plus facilities, all the plus benefits will also be included. Fine? Fine. So ask a doubt. That's an amazing feature that has been introduced by Unacademy recently. All you need to do is, if you have any ambiguity about a specific question in test material, in quizzes, or maybe in the PDF which are uploaded by the faculty members in their classes, all you need to do is, you take a picture, the picture has to be legible, and you highlight the part which you want clarification about, right? And then you have to upload it. Within 24/7, within 24 hours, you will be given the clarification of the doubt, and your all the doubts and the questions are going to be answered, right? So that's kind of a personal mentorship which is introduced by Unacademy just to help you further. All right. So take advantage of this facility, and if you have any specific doubt, please put up the picture on that portal. Right. All you need to do is, the picture has to be legible. It has to be clear and visible. All right. So, all right. So I see Tanya here and Salan, right? So I hope we are ready for this exercise. As I told you, I have taken up Namaste. What should I call you? A.R. Wines. Alright, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Anyway, so I hope all of you are ready, because I'm going to give you 20 questions. And these questions are going to be a mixed bag of verbal reasoning questions. I have taken up syllogism, logical consistency, assumption-based questions, CR question, FIG questions, and some paradigm, right? So are we all ready? Okay, quickly show me some thumbs up so that I can go ahead. Shalin, Tanya, and AR, are you all ready? Okay, let me give you first question. The question is going to be based on syllogism. So get your pen and paper ready. Anurag, okay, that's a nice name. All right, Anurag. So get your paper and pen ready, because some of the questions would require you to draw some diagrams, right? Are we all ready? Let's start. First question. Okay, can I see some answers quickly? No news is interesting. So how are you going to draw the picture or diagram? You're not going to be given this much time, neither for SNAP nor for any other exam. All right. So now I see some answers coming up. D, right? So Anurag says it's D. Okay, let me see other students' answers. Okay, now let me draw this diagram for you, right? So no news is interesting. So that's how. All right. So no news is interesting. This is how this will be demonstrated, right? News and interesting will be two discrete circles. Next is, news is informational. Now all news is informational, right? So that's how it will be drawn. All news is informational. All right? Now whenever there is nothing before a word, assume it's all. So when I say men is mortal, it means all men are mortal. All right? Now news is informational, that means this is how it will be drawn. First conclusion, interesting is not informational, right? So A says anything which is interesting is not informational. Now this is one possibility. Now look at another possibility. All news, no news is interesting, but all news is informational. So this information circle can also intersect with interesting. This is second possibility. All right. Third possibility could be no news is interesting, all news is informational. So all news is informational. So this information circle can also take entire circle of interesting. So this is third possibility. Right? So whenever you have a syllogism question, you have to consider all the possibilities and your answer has to be valid in all the possibilities. Alright? Now look at first conclusion. Interesting is not informational. In this circle, third, in this possibility, third, we see all things which are interesting are informational. This is valid here, but this is not valid in second and third. That is why A is not the answer. Right? Some information is interesting. Some information is interesting, so that is considering only this possibility. Whereas in this possibility, no information, no interesting is informational. B is eliminated. C. All interesting is information. Yes, that's true in third possibility, but in 1 and 2, that's not true. So third is also not the answer. Answer is D. Now see how D is the answer. Some information is not interesting. Now look at this information. This is news as well as information. This circle is representing both news as well as information. And no news is interesting. So this part of information, which is news, can never be interesting. Right? So the information which is inside the circle can never be interesting. Interesting can be here, cannot be here. That is why some information is not interesting. Answer is B. Are we clear? Good. Next question. Okay. Yeah, so tell me if you want some clarification about the premises. If you're not clear how to draw this premises. This is a question which appeared in one of these years in Snap. Okay, so Anurag says C. Okay, so this is how this is going to be drawn. No professor other than those having PhD will be allowed to teach at SAPM. Alright, so that clearly means all the professors of SAPM have PhD degree. Alright, so that's how this will be drawn. Now, which of these is true if the premises is true? First, there are professors who teach at SAPM and do not have a PhD. Now, it very clearly says the circle is professor, all the professors have PhD. That's why A is going to be incorrect. B, all professors who have PhD will apply to SAPM. Now, whenever A is B, it means some B are A, not all B are A. All B are A is a possibility. Now, all professors who have PhD will apply to SAPM? No. Some of them are teaching at SAPM. That's why B is also not the answer. C, all professors who will teach at SAPM will have a PhD? Yes. According to this statement, this is going to be the right conclusion. Answer is C. Alright? Fine. Next question. Okay, quickly, tell me what should be the answer for this question. The attackers of White House are anarchists. How are you going to draw? According to the principles of syllogism, how are you going to draw this statement? The attackers of White House are anarchists. Okay, so Rishikesh says it's B. Only B is valid. Okay, so the attackers of White House are anarchists. How will that be drawn? These are attackers. All attackers are anarchists, right? Second statement says all anarchists are against law and order. So the second circle is going to encircle anarchists and they are against law and order. A. All people who are against law and order attack White House. So some people who are against law and order attacked White House. A is not the valid option. All attackers are against law and order. So all attackers are anarchists. All anarchists are against law and order. So that way all A becomes C. Answer is B. Good. Okay? Chaliye. Next question. Okay. Alright, question 4. Quickly, tell me the answers. Rishikesh says it's A. So only taxpayers. So look at the sentence. Only taxpayers are allowed to vote in the local elections. So whenever you have only, please remember, only A is B. Has to be all B is A. That's how it's going to revert, right? So only A is B is all B is A. When I say only graduates can take CAT, that means all CAT takers are graduates. Okay, so only graduates can take CAT is going to revert. All CAT takers are graduate. Alright? Now, only taxpayers are allowed to vote in the local elections. That means all voters in the local election are taxpayers. Okay, Rishikesh, this is how this is going to be depicted. Second says some voters are honest. So that's going to intersect with voters. They are honest. So that way some taxpayers are automatically honest. A says some taxpayers are not honest. No, it actually says some taxpayers are honest. Right? Some taxpayers are voters. Okay. Yeah. So some taxpayers are honest. I'm sorry. A. Yeah. So A is the correct option, right? Some taxpayers are voters. Some taxpayers are voters. So this is also true. Answer is D. Alright. It's not A. Rather the answer is going to be D. Okay? Are we clear? Are we clear with the answer? Okay, next question. Now find out which of them is logically consistent. Now this question is going to deal with the concept of logical consistency. Alright. So this actually deals with cause and effect. Alright. So if A is a cause and A happens, then B also happens. Right? So when government taxes, this is a cause. It also provides facility. This is an effect. Right? So whenever when and if are there, that means it's a sufficient condition for this effect to happen. Alright? So when the government taxes, it also provides facilities. There are two possible answers. Cause happened, effect also happened. Effect did not happen, cause did not happen. Right? So these are two answers which are consistent in this situation. Whenever you have if or when. Alright? Now look at this. Options. A and C. Government text. That means cause happened. C. Government gave facilities. So cause plus effect plus. That is why A is the answer. Alright? Same line, this question is there. Please see if you are able to solve this. Same principle is going to be applicable here. If cause happens, then effect also happens. So cause is, if it rains, effect is, I will bring an umbrella. Right? So that's an effect. So there are two answers, possible answers. Cause happened, effect also happened. Effect did not happen, that means cause did not take place. So these are two answers which are logically consistent. Alright? Now, on the basis of this, which is the correct answer? Now, this appears in SNAP, logical consistency, SNAP, IIFT, and CMAT. Quickly, tell me. If you're not clear with the concept, do tell me. I'll clarify you the concept first and then we can do the exercise or we can do this question. Okay, so here as well, answer is going to be A because DC. D says, I have bought an umbrella. Sorry, I have not bought an umbrella. That is effect minus C. That means it's not raining, cause minus. Effect did not happen, that means cause hasn't happened. That is why answer is A. Are we not clear with this concept? Rishikesh, Dipesh, Tanya, please tell me if the concept is not clear. Okay. Okay, now please see, in this question, instead of when and if, there is only if. Now, only if is going to change the situation. It's going to make the situation necessary. Alright? So, in this situation, if cause does not happen, effect does not happen. Effect does not take place. And if effect is happening, that is sure sign that cause happened. Right? So, these are two ways you can find the information consistent. Alright? So, if the bill can be passed only if farmers agree to the provision. Only if this situation is talking about cause. This is the cause. If farmers agree to the provisions of the bill can be passed. That's the effect. Two ways this information can be consistent. One, cause did not happen. Farmers did not agree to the provision and the bill did not get passed. Second, effect plus, that means the bill is passed. Clearly, the farmer agreed to the provision. Okay? So these are two ways to find the consistency in only if situation. This is a necessary situation. Alright? So here is also the answer is A. DB. Now D says farmers have not agreed to the provisions. That means cause did not happen. B. The bill is not passed. Okay? Answer is A. Okay. Now this is also the question which is based on logical consistency. Please see if you are able to solve it. Okay, so the statement is, where there is poverty, there are always thieves. Right? So, this is a cause. Where there is poverty, there are always thieves. That's an effect. Now, which of the following statement, if true, would show that the above statement is false? What you need to do is find a statement which is false if the above information is correct. Alright? So, whenever you have to find the inconsistent information, I told you the concept in the previous slide. But whenever you have to find the false statement, that means cause is happening but effect is not happening. Cause is not leading to the effect. So that's going to lead to the false statement. Alright? Now whenever there is a poverty, there are always thieves. Now a situation which is going to prove it false is a situation where poverty is there but thieves are not there. Right? Now on the basis of that, look at the options. America is a rich country and there are thieves in America. The premises is not talking about rich country, rather it's talking about poor country. That is why A is eliminated. Bhutan is a poor country and there are no thieves in Bhutan. So that's going to be our answer because this clearly nullifies the statement. Statement is wherever there is a poverty, there are always thieves. Now Bhutan is a poor country, there are no thieves. Okay? The asked statement answer is going to be B. Alright? On the same line, there is this question. Please see if you are able to answer the question. Where there is smoke, there is fire. Okay, so the smoke is cause here, and fire is the effect. Where there is smoke, there is fire, right? Now, same way, if you have to show that the statement is false, that means you have to prove that cause is happening, but that's not leading to the effect. All right, so that's going to prove your statement false. Look at the statement. There is sometimes smokes where there is no fire, right? So this statement is actually going to prove it wrong because smoke is there and fire is not happening. The cause is happening, but the effect is not happening. All right? So that is why A is going to be the correct answer. Is that all right? Now look at B. Why not B is the answer? There is sometimes fire where there is no smoke. Fire is the effect. Now effect may have multiple causes. There may be multiple reasons because of which fire happens. Cause leads to effect. The effect does not lead to the cause. Right? So that is why B is not the answer. Fine. Okay. Now parasymbol question. This is question which appeared in IIFT. Quickly answer if you are able to find the correct answer. Okay, so either A or B is given as the opening statement, right? You can clearly see only two statements have been given as the opening statement. Now look at A. Particular finger position or gesture of the hand common to their age and civilization. Now this pronoun does not have any reference. Whose age and civilization? So A is not my opening statement, hence two options are eliminated. That is A and D. Right? So by default, B becomes my opening statement. Now B says, since ancient times, hence have been used in cave paintings, drawings, sculpture and fine arts as symbols of communication. Now this introduces a neutral idea. Now what it should be followed by, A or D? A says, particular finger position or gesture of hand common to their age and civilization, right? Now this is connecting very clearly with B. Let's see what D is saying. D says, ancient Egyptian and Semitic art, for example, depicted celestial power by a hand painted in the sky. Now this is an example. Example is going to prove an idea, but idea has to settle first, right? So first an idea has to establish and then an example is to be cited. A is going to be right after B, right? And then you say A के just बाद आपको B भी आना चाहिए. Ancient Egyptian and Semitic art, for example, depicted celestial powers by a hand painted in the sky. And C says European religious paintings represented the Holy Trinity by the extended thumb. So that way these two examples DC are in option B, right? So the answer is going to be B. Fine? All right. One more question on manageable. Quickly, identify your opening statement. This was an IIFT question. Okay, so you can see two. Okay, you can see actually all opening statement given. First, some people are born with greater possibility or potential intelligence than others. Can be an opening statement. Let's hold it. B. Intelligence is improved by learning. It is no longer thought that intelligence is a general quality underlying all behavior and inherited wholly from our parents. D says, however, this potential. So D is not your opening statement. So D is eliminated. Right? Now, what should be your opening statement? This is confusing. That means what you need to do is identify a mandatory pair. Now, mandatory pair is very clearly can be linked with D. This potential, however, this potential. Now, this potential is explained in A. So, AD is your pair. Some people are born with greater possibilities or potential intelligence than others. This potential. Now let's look at example where A and D is there. This is not the answer. Either this or this is your answer. Alright. Now look at whether it should start with AD or it should be concluded with AD. C says, it is no longer thought that intelligence is a general quality underlying all behavior and inherited wholly from our parents. Intelligence is improved by learning, right? So CB becomes another pair. It is not wholly inherited, rather it is improved by learning. So that's how CB is also a mandatory pair. And then comes A and D. A says some people are born with greater possibility, but this potential may not develop unless it is encouraged and stimulated. Answer very clearly is D. Right? So, the essential thing that you have to do while doing management question is to identify mandatory pair and opening statement. If, like in this question, we did not have much help with opening statement because only one option could be eliminated for not being the opening statement, what we needed to do was find a mandatory pair. If very clear linguistic links are not given, then you have to find the link of the content, right? So you have to read it thoroughly so that you understand how the message is conveyed, how the message is glued together, right? One more question on paragraph from IIFT. Alright, so in this question as well, you are given A, B, C, D, all four as the opening statement, right? Now, let's try to figure out some ways to eliminate some statement for not being the opening statement. Now, let's look at A. A says the commission also warns. So, here we have very clearly a definite article which is defining commission. That means this commission has been explained before. Also wants means it wants something before, it also wants this. A is not the opening statement, that means D is not your answer. Alright? Now, a shake-up of the law governing the industry across Europe. Kaun si industry? Because here industry will not have the article, specific article, which is making it very particular. Kaun si industry ki baat kar rahe hain, which is being specified by the. Again, B is also eliminated. So if you know these basics of grammar, you can easily eliminate this option. So B is not your opening statement, that means A is not your answer. Now you're left with two options, C and D, and that's going to give you, just deciding which option should be your opening statement is going to give you your answer. Plans were announced by the European Commission that should lead to greater competition in the vehicle insurance market. Now, I have bold-faced this part because vehicle insurance market is actually considered as the industry in B, is referred to as the industry in B statement, right? So that is why C is your opening statement. C is very clearly connected with B. As I said, vehicle insurance market later on is referred as the industry. Okay? B. It should mean that companies are no longer able to restrict the length of time motorists may keep their vehicle in EU states other than the ones in which they are registered. And then A. The Commission also warns. Okay? So very clearly, two mandatory pair give you your answer B. Okay? So opening statement, very, very important to find out. Yeah, Anshul, your answer is correct. Alright, now this is critical reasoning. Alright, a paragraph is given and here you have to choose the statement which is going to conclude the paragraph, concluding statement, right? Which resonates with the penultimate idea. Alright, read it carefully and then tell me which is the appropriate concluding statement. Okay, an analogy has been drawn in this paragraph, basically how people, behave when they come close to the end of their life and what they do when they come to the close of the, when they come to the end of a century, 1990. So what's going to be the answer for this question? Alright, now please see, as the century draws to a close, people start behaving much like people coming to the end of a long life. People approaching death often start reflecting on the events of their lives, right? So they start to retrospect and they start looking at all the events that happen in their life, right? So they have a backward looking way of looking at their life. Similarly, people alive in 1999, a century which is coming to close, what they do when their life comes to the end, same is done when the century is coming to an end. They start reflecting on the events which took place in the 20th century. Answer is A. Right? So now the confusion may be here, 20th century. Now 20th century is a century which starts in 1901 to 1999. This is the 20th century, right? So because of this, you may be confused that why would they look at the 20th century? This was the 20th century that they lived, right? And that is why as they start to look back on their life and they see how their life went by, they start to look at the events which took place in this entire century as this century is coming to an end. Okay? So the behavior which they have with their life is going to be same with when the year or the century is coming to an end. Alright? So the answer is B. Oh, sorry, A. Okay. Now you have to decide which of the following statements is best described as an assertion of opinion rather than an assertion of fact? I hope all of you know how fact, inference, and judgment are different from each other, right? We had a class on fact, inference, and judgment. Please identify which of these statements is an assertion of fact rather than an assertion of opinion. Right, Anshu, I hope I answered this question. Answer to the question number 14 is A, not B. Started to reflect on the events of their lives? No. They would start to look at the events which took place in 1990 or entire century. Okay? Because century is coming to an end. So they are going to reflect on the incidents which took place in the century. When their life comes to an end, they start to reflect upon the incident which happened in their life. Okay? So that is why B is not the answer. Answer is going to be A. Are we clear? Are we clear, Anshu? Now let's do this question. Which of the following statements is best described as an assertion of opinion rather than an assertion of fact? Fact and opinion. Please try to differentiate between both the statements. Earlier, parajumal questions were IIFT questions. This was not IIFT question. Parajumal questions, all three questions were from IIFT 2019 paper. Alright, first statement. Brazil, China and India are now among the largest emitters of greenhouse gases. Is it a fact or is it an opinion? The fact is something which can be verified, which can be proven wrong or right, which can be proven true or untrue. That's a fact. So Brazil, China and India are now among the largest emitters of greenhouse gases. This can be proven wrong or right. It's a very clearly a fact, piece of fact which can be verified whether they are the largest emitters or not. Alright? Second, scientists agree that human activity is an important cause of climate change. This is also a piece of fact because this can be verified whether scientists agree on this or not. Okay? So B is also an assertion of fact. It can be verified. So anything which is verifiable is never an opinion. Okay? So A and B are not opinion. Okay? C and D में बताओ quickly. Anshul, Rishikesh. Third, the Indian government's policy on climate change is misguided. Now, that is very clearly someone's opinion. Somebody is disapproving Indian government's policy on climate change, right? So, I am clearly stating my opinion, stating my disapproval about the policy of Indian government on climate change. You might disagree with that, and that's not something which is verifiable. That's just my opinion. Alright, that is why C is the answer, because C is an assertion of opinion rather than a fact. D, the Indian government's policy on climate change has changed significantly in the last 5 years. So in the last 5 years, you can see what policy Indian government had 5 years ago, and what policy changes have taken place in the policy in 5 years time, right? So with that you can go and verify that. But C is something which is very clearly someone's opinion. That is why C is the answer. Okay, one more question on the similar line. Decide which of these statements is an assertion of opinion rather than an assertion of fact. Alright, so the number of people migrating into Bengaluru has increased significantly in recent years. Now, this is something which is verifiable. We can go and check whether number of people has increased or not. This is because Bengaluru provides more economic opportunities than town and villages from which these migrants come. Now, this is also something which is verifiable because it can be proven whether Bengaluru has more opportunity or offers more opportunities than rural area in Karnataka. Third, the sudden influx of migrants has made the city less pleasant to live in. Now that's very clearly someone's opinion about the city, right? So the city is not as pleasant as it was earlier because there's a migration of these migrant workers. The city is not as pleasant as it was earlier to live in. Now that's my opinion. ये मेरा opinion है about Bangalore. ठीक है? So that is why C is the answer here, which states someone's opinion rather than fact. Alright? So answer is C. Now this is critical reasoning. Please understand the question first, read it, and then answer the question. The question is, the conclusion above is based on which of the following assumptions? All right. Alright. A world-renowned painter recently won a lawsuit against an ice cream manufacturer for commiserating another graphic designer to design the ice cream package in a similar style to the painter. Alright. Now, because of the judgment of the case, manufacturers will have to stop asking graphic designer now to copy the freely available design of famous painters, and the end result will an increase in the cost of package designers employing the services of known artists would cost more than those of graphic artists that merely imitated their style. Now, what you have to do is find out the assumption of the conclusion. Now, the conclusion says that now the manufacturer's cost is going to increase, right? Now, before coming to this conclusion, there is some supposition that is made by the author, made by the writer here of this argument, which leads to this conclusion. The conclusion is the cost is going to increase. Now, in which case the cost is going to increase? Now, please understand the argument. Renowned painter won the lawsuit. It sued the ice cream manufacturer, which was using this painter's painting without permission, right? Because of the judgment of the case, manufacturers will have to stop asking graphic designer now to copy the freely available designs of the famous painter. Now, graphic designer is not going to imitate the designs of the painter because he won the lawsuit. अब एंड रिजल्ट क्या होगा इसका? कॉस्ट जो है वो पैकेज की बढ़ने वाली है बिकॉज मैन्युफैक्चरर क्या करेगा जिसकी वजह से उसकी कॉस्ट बढ़ने वाली है. सो व्हाट इज इट दैट इज अज्यूम्ड हियर बिफोर कमिंग टू दिस कंक्लूजन दैट हिज कॉस्ट इज गोइंग टू बी इंक्रीज्ड. Now, the assumption here is very clearly B, which says the manufacturers will continue to use well-known painting style in their packaging. Now, he would not stop using these well-known painting styles. Hence, his cost is going to increase because now he will have to pay to this designer, the original designer, the authentic designer. He won't be able to, or the manufacturers will not be able to take the services of the graphic designer. He will have to hire the original painter. Since original painter is going to be hired, he will have to pay him more and hence the package cost is going to be increased. So conclusion, उसके just step पहले जो आता है that is what is assumption because the basis for any conclusion is the assumption. So here the B is the basis for the conclusion that ultimately his cost is going to be increased. Alright, so that is why answer is B. Fine. Okay, one more question based on critical reasoning. Alright, unlike the price of gold, the price of silver has fallen considerably in the last year. So पिछले साल silver की price जो है वो considerably गिरी है. Thus, although the retail price of jewelry made with silver other than gold has not yet fallen, it will inevitably fall. क्योंकि प्राइस गिरा है इसलिए उससे बनी जो ज्वेलरी है उसका जो रिटेल प्राइस है वो अभी नहीं गिरा है बट inevitably गिरेगा, कम होगा. That's what the conclusion is saying. Question is, which of the following, if true, most seriously weakens the argument above? Weakens the argument, that means you have to prove that the retail price of the jewelry is not going to fall. Alright, that's what you have to keep in mind. So any option which proves that the retail price of the gold jewelry is not going to fall is going to be your answer. First, changes in retail prices always lag behind changes in raw material prices. So that's going to actually prove it right. Because now the price of silver has fallen and then something which is made of this silver will also fall because it always lags behind. So A is actually strengthening it, not weakening it. That's why A is not the answer. The price of gold is typically higher than that of same volume of silver. This is not the question. The conclusion is jewelry made of silver is going to fall. You have to prove it's not going to fall, rather it's going to be higher, or it's not going to fall. B is also not the answer. Operating cost of the average retail price have remained constant during the last year. Now, the operation cost of a retail store is of no context here, is of no relevance here. Ultimately, what you have to prove is the retail price of the jewelry is not going to fall. D, the cost of processing silver has increased during the last year, right? Now, this is going to neutralize the effect of diminishing prices. So the price of silver has come down, but the price of processing silver has gone up. So this is actually going to nullify the effect of decrease, and hence the prices are not going to decrease. The conclusion is prices are going to fall. This proves prices are not going to fall because processing cost has increased. ठीक है? So anything which proves that the prices of silver jewelry, retail jewelry, are not going to fall as your answer, hence D is the correct answer here. Okay, now this was an IIFT question. Alright, it is believed by many economists that to realize a 7% GDP growth rate in India, which is very much attainable, the gross fixed capital formation in the country must increase to 30% of GDP from the present level of 28%. Alright, now which of these is the valid assumption? First, the target of 7% GDP is not feasible. Had it not been feasible, this would not have been stated, right? Second, GDP growth rate is directly related to capital formation growth rate. Now, whether it's directly related or indirectly related, we don't know anything about this statement alone, right? So that is why this is not the statement. The GDP growth rate in a country is the only indicator of country's economic development. So that is also not stated. What we have been told is, in order to increase the GDP growth from 7%, 30% of GDP, the capital formation should be increased. That's what we have been told. So none of these statements is actually valid. None of these assumptions is actually valid. Answer is none of A, B or C. Alright. Okay, last question of today's presentation. Okay, a conservation group in the United States is trying to change the long-standing image of bats as frightening creatures. The group contends that bats are feared and persecuted solely because they are shy animals that are active only at night. Alright, so that's the argument. Which of the following, if true, would cast the most serious doubt on the accuracy of the group's contention? Now, it wants to change the image of bats because they are feared. Right? And the group contends that bats are feared and persecuted because they are shy animals and active only at night. Because of this, they are persecuted. Now, which of these statements is going to cast a serious doubt on the contention of the group? That means it's going to prove it wrong that not because of this people persecute bats. Right? That's what you have to prove. Now, the option which is going to prove it wrong is D. Now, raccoons and owls are shy and active only at night, yet they are not generally feared and persecuted. Now, a parallel example is given which very clearly says that these two animals are also shy and they are only active at night, but people do not persecute them or people are not feared by them, but they are feared by bats. So there must be other reason. There must be some other reason because of which they find bats fearful or frightening. Alright? So that way answer is D. Alright? So here we come to the end of today's session. I hope you benefited from the session. Alright? So all the very best, all of you who are taking SNAP tomorrow. And I'm going to have a practice session, comprehensive practice session on special classes 9 p.m. today. So if you want to have a last practice for SNAP, do come and join my session at 9:30 on special class on Unacademy. Alright? Thank you very much.